Before we start, I would like you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Beyond Crazy for United States versus Leon, 1984. Background: in 1981, police officers in Los Angeles obtained a search warrant based on information from a reliable informant. However, the warrant was later found to be invalid due to a technical error. Nonetheless, the officers searched Leon's home and found drugs and other evidence of drug trafficking. Leon was charged with drug offenses. Outcome: the case went to the U.S. Supreme Court. They created a good faith exception to the exclusionary rule, which allows evidence to be used at trial, even if the warrant was later found to be defective, as long as the police acted in good faith when obtaining the warrant. Impact: some have praised the decision in United States versus Leon as a necessary step to balance the need for law enforcement with the protection of individual rights. In contrast, others have criticized it as weakening the Fourth Amendment protections against unreasonable searches and seizures. Number 3. Batson versus Kentucky, 1986. Background: in 1982, James Batson, a black man, was on trial for burglary and receiving stolen goods. During jury selection, the prosecutor used challenges to strike all 4 black potential jurors from the jury pool, leaving an all-white jury. Batson's defense attorneys objected to the prosecutor's use of peremptory challenges, arguing that it violated Batson's rights under the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. The trial court rejected the objection, and Batson was convicted and sentenced to prison. On appeal, Batson argued that the prosecutor's use of peremptory challenges to strike potential jurors based on the race was unconstitutional. Outcome: the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the prosecutor's use of peremptory challenges to exclude jurors based on solely their race violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. The court held that a defendant has the right to a jury pool selected without regard to race, and that challenges cannot be used to exclude jurors based on race or ethnicity. Impact: Batson versus Kentucky established an important precedent for ensuring racial fairness in jury selection. It signaled a shift away from the historical practice of excluding jurors based on race, and it established clear guidelines for preventing discrimination in the jury selection process. The ruling has been hailed as a significant step forward in the fight for racial inequality in the criminal justice system. However, some critics argue that the Batson rule has been difficult to enforce and has not gone far enough in addressing issues of racial bias in the criminal justice system. Number 2. New York Times Co. versus Sullivan, 1964. Background: in 1960, the civil rights movement placed a full-page ad in New York Times that criticized the treatment of civil rights protesters in the South. L.B. Sullivan, the city commissioner of Montgomery, Alabama, sued the New York Times for defamation, claiming that the ad contained false statements about him and harmed his reputation. At trial, the jury awarded Sullivan $500,000 in damages. Outcome: the case reached the U.S. Supreme Court, ruling that the First Amendment's protection of free speech and press extends to statements about public officials. Such officials must prove actual malice, knowledge of falsity, or reckless disregard for the truth to recover damages. Impact: New York Times Co. versus Sullivan has significantly impacted the freedom of the press and the ability of individuals to criticize public officials without fear of being sued for defamation. The actual malice standard set by the court became an essential element of First Amendment law. It has been applied to a wide range of cases involving media coverage of public officials and matters of public concern. Number 1. Kaler versus Kansas, 2020. Background: in 2009, James Kaler shot and killed his estranged wife, her grandmother, and his 2 teenage daughters. Kaler was charged with capital murder, found guilty, and sentenced to death. Kaler's defense team argued that he was not responsible for his actions due to his mental illness. However, the trial judge instructed the jury that mental illness alone was insufficient to negate intent or justify a lesser charge of second-degree murder. Kaler appealed his conviction, arguing that the trial judge's instructions violated his 8th Amendment rights against cruel and unusual punishment and his 14th Amendment right to due process. Outcome: in a 6-3 decision, the U.S. Supreme Court held that the Kansas law prohibiting the use of mental illness as a defense to criminal charges did not violate the 8th or 14th Amendments. The court noted that while mental illness can mitigate criminal sentencing, it does not negate the mens rea or intent required for a conviction. The court further held that the specific jury instructions given in Coller's case did not violate his constitutional rights, as they did not preclude the consideration of his mental illness as a mitigating factor in sentencing. Impact: some advocates have criticized the decision in Coller versus Kansas, arguing that the ruling could discourage defendants from seeking help for their mental health issues and lead to more severe punishments for those with mental illness. However, the decision also reflect a long-standing legal principle that criminal intent is a critical element of criminal law and that mental illness, while a mitigating factor, cannot excuse criminal behavior entirely. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.